So Harv stole my thunder by asking you the question I was going to start with, which is how many would like to lose some weight? 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 100 pounds? How many of you kind of know what you need to do to have that happen? You kind of know, right, what you need to do? How many of you are doing it? Okay. So I'm going to come back to this point many times, but the point that I want to make now that I want to start you with is that weight loss is really about two things. One is information, and two is putting it into action. How many can relate to this statement? I'll bet you can end it for me. I know what to do, but I just don't do it. So we're really talking about two trains of thought here. One is the information, and I am going to spend a great deal of time telling you why most of the information that you may have heard about weight loss is caca. So what we've got to do is kind of empty our minds of a lot of the stuff that we think is the right information before we can put the right information into practice. How many people know that story about the old Zen monk with the tea? Have you ever heard that one? If you haven't heard it, the acolyte comes to study Zen with this great Zen master. And the master says, would you like a cup of tea? And he says, I would love a cup of tea. Pulls out the cup, and the master starts to pour the tea. And he pours it, and he keeps pouring it. He pours it, and it fills up, and it spills over, and it finally gets over the floor, and it's just climbing up the walls. And finally, the acolyte just doesn't know what to say, and he's embarrassed, and he says, sir, the cup is full. It won't hold anymore. And the master says, that's what your mind is like. And I cannot teach you Zen until you empty it. So a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is emptying our minds of some of the stuff that we've heard about what you need to do to lose weight. How many believe you just can't lose weight no matter what you do? Be honest. Who think it just, whatever you have heard, it doesn't apply to you. You've tried everything and it just doesn't work. You've done all the diet, all the exercise. Does anybody believe that? Okay, so here's the good news. You know this show, Jump the Shark, a while ago, Survivor? They put them on an island, and all they do is eat worms for 30 days. You know? Every single one of them loses weight. Now, here's the deal. They don't all lose it the same way. They don't all look like Calvin Klein models. Sometimes they lose it in different ways. They lose different amounts. Some of them look like so skinny you just want to send them home. Others really look kind of lean, like they just lost that little love handle thing. They lose it in different ways. But every single person can lose weight. And if you happen, and it is true, we professionals will sit around sometimes at conferences and talk about the one case we could not help. There's always going to be one that is just so difficult, we can't figure it out. But here's the deal. It doesn't empower you to think you're that case. I guarantee you, most of you are not that one case. And it doesn't empower you to assume that you are. What you haven't maybe done yet is find out what the strategy is that's going to work for you. And we're going to talk about that. How many people are confused about whether it's carbohydrates, maybe it's fat, high protein, vegetarian, raw foods, this diet? What's coming up here? Some good ones. The beer diet, that's always popular. Okay, so there's a lot of diet books out there. The martini diet's always a popular one. And how many of you, after looking at all this stuff, feel a little bit like this?